Hi.
Hi.
So, on our lovely
Country randomizer from
Yes.
our Bangladesh night.
And Paraguay.
Paraguay!
So we got Paraguay, and this time we had to do a cheese. So cheese,
Cheeses first.
yes, it's Queso Paraguay, sort of, because I don't have a cow stomach to throw out in the sun for 4 days with lemon juice and whatnot. So I did a version of Queso Paraguay. With that cheese, we're gonna make a soup and a thing called a soup. It's not a soup though. So the Sopa Paraguay is not a soup, although it means Paraguayan soup. It's actually like a cornbread, I think, is what it's gonna end up being like. And then the other thing that we're doing is like a chicken stew kind of deal. And it's got these cheesy corn balls in it.
Our drink, we're doing something called like a tereré.
Tereré.
Tereré. I think it's mainly just a tea kind of thing with some lemon. So.
Yeah. That's kind of the whole plan.
Yeah, so we'll see how food from Paraguay goes.
See how it goes. It might go horribly, it might go well.
Let's hope that goes well this time.
Yeah.
So since we're only sort of doing the traditional way of making this cheese, I'm going to be using some heat. They typically would just use thyme in order to curdle their milk, but I'm not about to wait 24 hours for my cheese to make. So I'm going to be heating her up here. I'm going to just pour a gallon of milk into my pot. It's full right about to the tippity top. I'm going to make it more similar style in cheese to, I guess, like a mozzarella. But mozzarella doesn't use rennet, so it's not really a mozzarella. It's not really a queso fresco. It's not really a cheddar, and it's not really a queso Paraguay. It's just a cheese. We're going to 88 degrees, and I need to acidify my milk. Typically, with the queso Paraguay, they would do it by the lemon going onto this like cow's stomach, but I'm putting in rennet tablets rather than the cow's stomach because that's gross, and we wouldn't have access to it anyway. So I'm just going to put the lemon into the pot. So the lemon just goes in and try to avoid getting the seeds as much as possible, and this should acidify the milk and start it curdling, and then the rennet will be kind of the final thing that gets it curdled. Once this lemon is in, I'm going to let it acidify for about an hour. Alright, that's probably enough lemon. I can actually see it's already starting to curdle a bit with just the lemon and a tiny bit of heat. And we'll come back in about an hour when this is acidified, and we'll be adding rennet. So I have a quarter of a tablet of rennet that I gotta crush up and put into a quarter of a cup of water. And then it just needs to soak for about 15 minutes before it's going to go into the pot of milk. Got my water ready to go. So now the rennet is in there. I'm just going to give it a quick stir. It's been soaking in just cool water for 15 minutes. And now it's going to go into our milk. And then we'll do what they call a cheese stir, which is essentially just moving the spoon up and down so that the rennet gets incorporated all in throughout. Get my heat rocking again to keep the temperature up. I believe it's gonna sit at that temperature with the rennet in it for another hour. At that point it should be mostly curdled. It started to become cheese. Cheese has sat for about an hour. I brought my temperature up already. I was supposed to wait until now to bring the temperature up, but shit happens. And then now we're just kind of gonna break up the curds. So I'm just kind of cutting it into like 1-inch cubes. From there, this is what I should have done this before I brought the temperature up, but I'm doing it now, so it is what it is. And then we'll start draining the curds. Let it sit for another 30 minutes after it's come up to temperature. So since we're already at temperature, I'll just pull it off and let it sit for another 30 minutes.
Alright, we got our curds.
Chocolates.
Chocolates. I'm so mean.
It's making you cry. You want to take over? I'll show that onion who's boss.
What are we doing, by the way?
We're doing a chicken stew. It's called Bori Bori, spelled Bori Bori. We're doing chicken thighs. It said like they prefer chicken legs, so chicken thighs would be kind of the same deal. And the recipe that I looked at had chicken breast, but I didn't want that. We got carrots, onions, peppers, tomatoes, and then we should have pumpkin in it, but we can't get pumpkin this time of year, so we don't have any pumpkin. Cumin first. I'm gonna do about a teaspoon of unground, and then grind it. Okay, so there's our little spice mix. We can start to sear off the chicken, give it a bit of a brown, and then we'll put in the vegetables and start them cooking. And then, well, we've got to work on, well, we've got to get the cheese rocking. So that's probably about time to work on that too. So while this browns, I actually might just start working on this cheese. And I'm trying to get the majority of it in the little thing here, but then, the strainer will catch the rest. Okay. So typically what we would do is we would just let it sit kind of overnight, but we don't have the time for that. So I'm going to probably end up squishing it with one of the little squishy bars. It's squishing around because this isn't the right size. This is for feta, and this is for cheddar. Yeah, that chicken's going to need to be turned too. It's starting to pop. This should be nice and brown. And then we got to start working on our dumplings. So we need to add in 2 cups of corn flour. 1 cup. We've got like the tiniest bit left that's going in. And we need 5 ounces of cheese. This is the Queso Paraguay, sort of.
Sorta, kinda.
Sorta, kinda. What do you figure? A handful?
Sure. Sure.
Seem.
Can you really go wrong with cheese?
You know what? It's all going in. It's going in. Why not? And then we've got the other half for our Sopa Paraguay.
Okay.
So then this will just get mixed up like a dough. Seems like a lot of balls for the amount of soup that we're gonna have.
Really? You don't like a lot of balls?
Well, like, it's gonna be half the pot and then some.
Make some big balls.
Yeah. Actually, I might just end up, because this is basically the same stuff that goes in the other thing. So I might use some of this to go into the other thing.
There we go.
Yeah, this seems like it'll be a good consistency to make the cheesy corn balls.
Yeah. Get some balls in them around your mouth there.
Yeah. Everybody loves balls in their mouth. How could they not? Especially cheesy balls. I think I'll have to start working on the Sopa Paraguay, because by the time that this is done, that's going to be needing to be ready to go. So throw our spices into our soup. Just got to sprinkle it over top. Recipe at no point ever mentions broth, so I don't know how that's supposed to work. So we're putting in a chicken broth. I call that nice and frothy. To dust our pan with cornmeal. Oh, that looks dusted to me. Once the onions are cooked, we're adding the milk to the onions. Eggs are beaten until frothy. Add this into that. Stir cornmeal.
It kind of looks like scrambled eggs.
Yeah, well, it kind of is.
Like really runny scrambled eggs.
Yeah, but it's basically cornbread. Then we need anise seeds. Since so much is going around, I'll definitely do less. More cheese is better than less cheese. I think that's a good amount. I'm just going to put in the other half of that milk. And it said it is supposed to be runny. You have to fight the urge to add more cornstarch. The butter. And then a tablespoon of baking powder. I think I got all the ingredients in. I'm going to put it in this pan. We're going in the oven 350 degrees for 50 minutes. Time to bring out the Sopa Paraguay. Oh, it's pretty freaking good. I'd say that's done, right?
Yeah.
And then it's just got to rest for about 10-15 minutes. And then now it's time to put the balls in the soup. Do our cheesy corn balls, or corny cheese balls.
I love cheese. We love cheese. We love I don't know it actually.
I don't have a clue.
I love cheesy puss, you love cheesy puss. If we didn't cheesy puss, we'd be love.
They're supposed to be done when they float, but like we have so much stuff in here, I can't tell if they're floating.
It all floats, Georgie.
Something like that.
You'll float too.
Yeah, the stuff looks really good.
It does.
So hopefully, well, this can't be bad.
It's
like
cheese.
It's like literally a chicken soup with cheese balls. This I don't know. It could be.
It's a cheese loaf.
Cheese. It's essentially cheesy cornbread.
So for our Paraguay.
Paraguay.
Paraguay. The drink that we're going to be doing is, I hope I am pronouncing this half decently, it's Tereré with an accent aigu at the end.
I would say that'd be Tereré.
Tereré?
Or Tereré or something.
It is a drink with herbs in it. The native residents, the Guarani people, use this drink for medicinal purposes. You can put medicinal herbs in here, stuff like that. Today we are just going to be using some Yerba mate. Never heard of it before. Destin apparently had.
I've heard of it. I didn't know what it was.
Anyhow, we're going to be using Yerba mate. Tereré is similar to an iced herbal tea, except it's made with cold water right off the bat, instead of heating water and then having it cool down. It's traditionally used out of a matra, which is a container that holds everything all together. With this matra, it includes a bombillia, which is a straw with a filter, a guampa, which I end up getting a traditional one made out of a gourd. We won't be using it. I didn't treat the inside of it. So instead, I got a more modern looking one with the bombillia. History and culture behind it a bit. It has been consumed by centuries by the Guarani people, as I had mentioned before, of South America, and it helps cleanse and heals the spirit. The person making the beverage, which will be me, I take the first sip of it just because sometimes the first sip might not be the best sip. And then also, too, back in the days, to make sure that's not poisoned.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to make sure that I didn't poison it for Dustin.
Yeah, I would say you didn't, unless you managed to poison a sealed bag.
Etiquette-wise, you don't add sugar or anything. You add fruit like citrus. We do have oranges and lemons.
Yeah, we'll try it on its own first. Do you need anything to measure it?
No.
Do you have any idea how much to put in?
No. I was just going to do like a teaspoon or something.
Well, you don't even have a teaspoon.
It says not to mix it around with the straw or anything either.
And then I would assume this has to sit a while.
Yeah, probably.
Because even a hot steep takes a bit of time.
Alright, and I'm going to try my bombilla. And try not to stir this up. Oh, it tastes like tea.
Okay. Yep, tastes literally
exactly
like tea.
You're back. Yay!
have a lemon.
Thanks. I believe this is a guampa, and yeah.
Okay.
Cute little gourd. Yeah. How's it with lemon? Very
lemon
lemony.
tea.
Yeah. Yeah, but we're not supposed to stir it up.
Yeah. Because
Alright.
you'll still get bits in your mouth.
We're going to be doing a little bit of history of Paraguay here. To watch a couple of videos, which is probably just going to tell us the exact same thing, which I'm going to tell you guys. I will link the videos in the description down below here. To start off, we are going pre-Columbian history here. So before the arrival of the Europeans, Paraguay was inhabited by several indigenous groups, which are the Guarani people. They had significant impact of the culture and the history around the region. Those people lived in small, decentralized communities and had a complex social and political organization. They were skilled farmers and practiced a form of
Animism? Oh yeah, so it says worshiping nature and ancestor spirits.
Oh, okay. In about the 16th century, the Spanish came and conquered Paraguay, which established missions and settlements in the region, so introducing Christianity. Paraguay became a part of the Viceroyal of Peru and later the Viceroyalty of the Rio de la Plata. Eventually, in 1811, Paraguay gained their independence from Spain there, and that was a successful revolution led by Jose de Francisco de Paula Martinez. However, the country faced many challenges following the years, including civil wars, dictatorships, and economic instability. In the 20th century, Paraguay underwent significant political and economic changes, including the return of democracy and implementation of market-oriented policies. Today, Paraguay is a diverse and rapidly developing country with a rich history and culture, as we are learning right now.
Yeah.
So we finished our video.
Like, I was shocked at like with a lot of the other ones, it's like, this happened, and 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 this happened. This one, it's like, there was literally like 3 times that something happened that was like major events. It's not like with Bangladesh, how it's like it was taken over by these people, and then these people did this, and then these people did that. It was literally 3 things.
Well, at least it's just about of the history that it was giving us.
Literally, at one point it said, like, in 2012 there was a coup. Then it said nothing. It literally just brushed it right over it, so I don't even know. But
basically the main things that I kind of took from it were that like there's the dividing river, the Paraguay River, and what was it, 90 to 95% of people live on the east of it, something like that?
Yeah.
And then like 5% live on the west, and the west side is like all
The vast
farms
majority of the land.
Yeah, like I think it's like 70% of the land is there. Similar to like Canada, we were saying how like everybody in Canada lives down by the border, and most of them live in Ontario,
Like
in
southern
Ontario, like in that one strip from along the St. Lawrence River along to basically Windsor.
Canada's little Willie, you know.
Yes.
And then the other thing I took from it was like, 95% of the people are all one race because they made it illegal to marry somebody of your own race.
Mm-hmm.
You had to marry somebody of a different race because they tried to just intermingle and create one just generalized mixed race.
Everyone's biracial or
Yeah, and they had
triracial.
well, of course it is. It's
Yeah, I guess
multiracial. I guess
yeah, exactly.
They had a name for it, but I can't remember what it was.
Yeah.
And then there's like 4 to 6% that are like Asian or black, and the rest are this mix of Spanish with the Guarani.
Yeah, the Guarani.
The main language is the native language, like the Guarani language.
Mm-hmm.
They said that's basically. I think they said the only place in the world where that's the case, where the settlers have come in and continue to use the original language.
Yeah, because they're like, oh, this is going to help us with our trades and everything. Because it's not just Paraguay; it's the surrounding countries around Paraguay as well.
Well, only like the areas of those countries, though.
Yeah.
It was saying, like they said, Paraguay is seen as like a strange anomaly in like that area because everybody else speaks Spanish. Mm-hmm. They're the only ones that don't. Well, they do, but that's a combo language that they use. That's like a
it's like Spanglish, but like instead of it's like Guarani mixed with Spanish. That was the main thing that I kind of took from the
that and lumber.
Well, yeah, they said they have a lot of lumber, a lot of beef.
A lot of beef, a lot of soy.
Yeah, a lot of soy.
A lot of beef, a lot of soy. So good for vegetarian, vegans, and meat lovers.
Yes. Food with a side of history.
Yes.
So here is the Sopa Paraguay, and then here is the Bori Bori, which is actually a Sopa Paraguay. Hopefully, it's good. We'll see.
How is it?
It's good.
I think I'm going to try the
Sopa Paraguay.
Sopa Paraguay.
Yeah. Paraguayan soup. Looks just like soup, doesn't it? Except it doesn't.
Okay. It's a cornmeal bread.
Yeah.
Not bad or anything.
No.
That's nothing.
Yeah, it's
That's
fine.
exploding me. To
Yeah, it's not like, oh my god, I love this so much. It's cornbread.
Yep.
Almost like a frittata.
See, I bet that'd be really good.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
I'm going to do that. I feel like it'd soak it up real nice too.
I'm gonna use the more crispy bit to go in there. You can see the cheese, like the little white bits of the cheese there.
Have you tried a soup ball yet?
Yeah, they taste like a dumpling.
Yeah.
Thing we have to keep in mind with all of the stuff that we're eating is it's not like Michelin star restaurant stuff. It's good, but you're expecting something spectacular just because it's like a
different place.
Yeah, and just because it's a different place, like it's almost like this was one of those things where we had these ingredients. Aside from the only thing that like we didn't have the pumpkin, but we normally could have if it was the time of year for it. Like it's literally a chicken stew with dumplings.
Yeah. It's traditional food, so it dates back to 16th, 17th, I don't know. And as like said before, I'm like, oh, like all traditional drinks are coffees and teas. It's
because that's what traditional drinks are.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like this is good. It's just it's not anything out of the ordinary for us. Other than the Sopa Paraguay is not something that I would typically have because like it's almost like a cross between cornbread and a frittata.
I know. I think I was just with all the cheese that was in it. I think I was expecting
it to be like super cheesy.
Yeah.
But the thing is that fresh cheese doesn't taste like something that's been aged and has all that crazy
that's why
flavor.
It's called like old cheddar and stuff.
Exactly. So like this fresh cheese doesn't taste like much of anything. It's literally just curdled milk. There's no cultures in this. It's just rennet. So the cultures are what gives it like all the flavor. And probably if you did a proper Queso Paraguay, leaving it out at room temperature for a full day while it creates that stuff itself, it probably would give it a lot more flavor just because of the natural shit that is going to get into there. The one thing that is different in this is cumin in a chicken stew is something I typically wouldn't do. I can definitely taste the cumin in there and it's like, oh, okay. Because I was like, what is the different thing in there? I was like, oh yeah, the cumin.
Oh, and then the balls. And I usually wouldn't put tomatoes in a
in a stew.
Yeah. Okay, so that's not too bad. I just had like a little tiny like corner piece of it with my soup and I didn't mind it. Or like, not that, I mean those balls. Oh yeah. I like just had a little.
Yeah, I've just been picking the corners. I haven't been eating the whole ball.
Because like the whole ball itself, I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm going to choke on it.
Yeah, it's just too much. Yeah, I've been just busting off little bits the whole time. Oh yeah, we don't have a dessert. Molasses cake, bread pudding cake, dulce de maman, pasta froya, matzamora. There's lots of desserts there. It's just we didn't make one, so no dessert tonight.
And that's fine because we did no prep at all before this.
It was one of those things where we were like, we have pretty much everything we need, so no point in preparing for it. When it came down to the time, it was like, holy fuck, we got a lot to do.
We've been doing this for a while here today. I'm lazy tired.
Yeah, lazy tired.
Lazy tired.
It just makes me think of Home Alone. You are what the French call les incompetents.
You're what
what the French call les incompetents.
I think we've pretty much, yeah, so this is our Paraguay dinner. We did our Sopa Paraguay. We made the cheese first. Sopa Paraguay, Bori Bori, the Tereré. And then I guess the next thing we need to do is bring up our random temperature generator.
Yes! Thailand. Thailand. Now this is a country that we could definitely do some really weird foods.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Or we could
Or we
have
could do-
the bastardized
Yeah.
American version of the Thai food.
We'll probably land somewhere in between.
But yeah, so we will be seeing you guys in Thailand next time. Yes.
Bye-bye. We'll see you in Thailand.
Bye! And that's how it ends.
With the rest of our whey here, I'm going to start up a ricotta cheese. So basically we just take the leftover bits of our cheese from earlier, the whey, and it cooks again, as in the ricotta. And at the bottom of that will be a ricotta cheese.